Welcome to this presentation on how to set up your uSDX Plus HF transceiver. So I'll go through some general setup of this receiver. Let's take a look at it closer. We can see that the front, we have a menu button, we have a headphone jack and a key microphone jack, mode button, and we also have a dial here which also pushes on and off, or just pushes in and it releases. And I turn it around, the back side, what we have here, we have the antenna connection. Now we have two sockets here for DC adapters. We really don't want to use the charge adapter because I don't think there's a battery inside. What we prefer to do is use the larger DC 13.8 volt jack or socket right here. We have some other sockets. The KJ is basically for the microphone and also using hard wire keying. And the cat is for some sort of a control for the radio. I found out that this radio, the cat feature, does not work. The KJ works fine for the microphone that comes with the radio, but we're not going to use the microphone for our purposes. And that takes care of most of it. So what you want to do to get started is you want to get the an antenna here, which would be suitable to connect into the antenna jack, and we can extend it outward as we so fit. But what we're going to do is we're going to connect it to the back of this antenna jack in the back, okay, like that. Like this, and we'd extend the rod as well. In my case, my antenna is kind of loose here, so I kind of put a little piece of paper. You shouldn't do this, but I do it just to keep my antenna from slipping on the outside here, and then I can put that in. That way, the antenna doesn't move on me. So you take a look at it like that. There's the antenna with the rod extended all the way up. So first thing is put your antenna on. Next thing is get your power supply, not from the not sent by the radio, but the one that came in another shipment. And notice it will have the larger jack opening, which is going to fit in the back here where it says DC 13.8. Put that in, okay, and I'll turn the radio around. We don't need to look at the back anymore. So now we can take a look at the front. Oh, well, I apologize. We do need to look at the back because there is an on-off button for which we would press it in to go on and press it again to go off. So we're going to put it on. All right. In fact, I can actually hear the radio. Alright, a couple of things about tuning and other setup. If you want to actually tune in a frequency, what you need to observe here is that there is an underline that goes under a number, which will tell you that's the number that can be changed by dialing the frequency here. So notice that the underline is under the 4 here, and you push it again and it'll move to whatever digit that you want to change. If you want to change by large amounts of frequency, notice it's under this 4 or 14, and it actually changes by large amounts. If you notice, you may hear a clicking sound when you change to different frequencies because the radio is changing to different filters inside of it internally. Nothing for you to worry about. Okay, but It does most of the numbers except it doesn't do the tens digit here. It does that 0, it skips the 7, it does the 4 digit, and then you got, this is a decimal point, I suppose. Well, whatever. So you just move these around to, oh, now, if you double click the value, the frequency selector, it will jump to known, or I would say agreed upon, frequencies that are used for the FT8 digital protocol over the radio. So every time I click it, it goes to a different frequency that is reserved for this particular digital radio protocol. And the most popular, or I should say, let me give you a little bit of an idea about something here. The 7.074 frequency, that works very well in the late afternoon and evening. Then when you get to morning, I'm going to double click, then the next best frequency is this 14.074. And middle of the day, you may have to jump it up to 21.074 to actually pick up some stations using that digital protocol. Okay, so that's getting the frequency. Let me go to 14. It's around late morning, and 14 is usually pretty good for late morning. All right, we have a button here called mode, and that's used to change the mode of receiving and transmitting. Right now it says USB, which is upper sideband. Click again. CW is continuous wave. You would use that for Morse code. Click again. LSB for lower sideband, and then we just go back to USB. If you're using digital modes, they all use USB. Otherwise, if you're just using the radio to listen to anything else like voice, or then you would go to, it depends. If you're below 10 megahertz, it's going to be lower sideband, and if it's above 10 megahertz, it'd be upper sideband. But right now, I have it on upper sideband because it's digital mode I'm going to use, and I'm going to, since it's mid-morning here, I'm going to use 14.074 megahertz. So that's the mode. Okay. For this session, we're not going to worry about connecting anything to the headphone or the key microphone, because we can actually, by just simply having the speaker on, we can actually, the app, it's going to be hard to see, the app to use is, and I'll show detail later, can pick up that signal and interpret it, even in a noisy environment, which is pretty neat. But let me continue with the radio first here. Alright, the important one here. This is going to end up being the menu button. Alright, the menu button, when you click it once, it'll show you the different features. Like, there's the volume if you want to fix it. We're gonna adjust that. The mode, you've already done the mode through the mode button, so we don't need to worry about that. The other items, if they have been there before by default, I would not really adjust any of those. And the only other one that we'll be concerned about later on when we start to transmit is going to be this VOX. We're going to leave it off until we get a license to transmit. We're going to keep it off. We can receive as much as we want, but transmitting requires a license. And then also this noise gate, which helps adjust when the voice operated relay inside the radio will trigger off a voice signal or a tone signal to actually transmit the radio. But we're going to leave that off. So the only thing we'll need in this session to deal with is going to be the volume. So there's the volume, and I'm jumping through the different modes. to actually change the volume, I will have to press the menu button, and then I'll get an arrow, and then it says +5, and I go increase it, increase the volume. And there's the volume way up, probably a little too high. So that's the volume, and I'll go down, go all the way down to 0. Actually, it's a -1, but usually for the purposes of digital radio that we're going to do, 3 and 4 volume is okay, even though it's very light sounding to your ear. The app is going to take care of picking up that signals that come off the radio. But let's see if we can hear what the signal sounds like. I don't know if anything's going to come in today or not. We'll find out. Let's leave the volume control there on 11. But let me show you something here. Okay. If I touch the antenna with my hand, notice how that volume picked up. It also means that the receiver is picking up much better. And you can barely hear like some high-pitched squeals on the radio. Not yet. But anyway, for this setup where you don't have an outdoor antenna, if you could get you some wire, maybe about 5 feet long, maybe 6 feet long, and somehow connect it to your antenna, then you can improve just with this little wire I'm going to put on. I got some wire here I'm going to put on. I actually have a little clip lead that I can use. This wire can drastically improve how well you can receive on the radio. And I'll just go ahead and let's see here if I can clip it. See that? That's just I just clipped it right there. That in itself improves the reception of the radio. So what I'm going to do here, I got the antenna fully extended. I'm just going to take this the wire I have, just stretch it out and connect it to the top right there, and there it is. Much better reception. So let's say we go back down to about 4. So it's got the arrow, which means you can adjust it. Go to 4. Now you can barely hear it, but what's going to happen is this app I have is likely to pick it up and interpret it. We'll talk about the app in another presentation. So this is the setup, the basic setup of the uSDX plus HF transceiver. And I'm going to leave this on 14074. Let's see, look at it closer. 14074 USB, and there's even a indication. The R tells you that you are receiving. If it were transmitting, there'd be a T that would appear. Alright, enjoy this step. The next step I'll actually show you how to set up the app on your phone. Thank you.